Hi guys, welcome to the last in this series of The Missing Link. And if you're following along with this live, gosh, what an opportunity to have a completely different perspective on the seeming chaos in the world outside of our doors. And I just think this whole book throws a completely different light on the issues of unrest, the issues of the unknown, the issues of seeming difference between individuals, the issues of judgment and analysis and worry and fear and living in a negative mindset versus a positive one. Not in the way of positive thinking, we know that's not what Sid is pointing to at all, but it really gets to the heart of it this week in the final chapters. And as we're recording this live, for those of you who are watching and not following along with it live, as what's been going on in the world this week in real time is the protests in the States on the issues of race. The coronavirus is still obviously going on around the world, so it looks like tumultuous times. I wrote in my newsletter this week that and yet in my own world, in my own experience, there's sunshine and there's stillness and there's quiet and there's love and there's contentment. So it's always interesting to take a moment. Sid talks very much in this time about, living in the now. And it's funny, like outside of my thinking and experience that gets created of, upset and distress and conflict and disagreement, right here, right now, there is none. And I keep noticing when we come back to the now, right here, right now, the thing that we're scared of, the thing that we're upset by, the thing that we're distressed by, the thing we're what-ifing about, the thing we have a lot of thinking about, the thing we're cross about, right here, right now, isn't. Now, we might get concerned about that and think, yeah, but if I don't think about it, how does this situation ever change? How do we ever get out of lockdown? How do people get on better with each other? How does racism get rid of if I just sit here on my sofa going, well, I'm all right, Jack? It's what I see, what the beauty of this conversation points to is that love and understanding always. When we fall out of thought, when we fall into love and contentment, we fill up with love, and our actions and our connections and our responses to the world outside of us it's like we put our love goggles on and we go into the world and we act from that space. We don't sit passively on the sofa. We go do what makes sense for us to do. We have a clear mind. We have common sense. We are moved in a way that's perfect for us to do what's ever right for us, whether that's to protest, whether it's to go to the shop, not go to the shop, whether it's to write, whether it's to record videos, whether it's to listen to videos. Whatever is happening right now in this moment is that you're finding in your life, like this moment, listening to this video, right, is your purpose, is wisdom in action, is common sense, is what you are supposed to be doing right now from this space. Like, you wouldn't think that the end to racism comes from sitting on your sofa and watching a video. But who knows what you hear? Who knows what you're moved to do as a result of listening and reading these chapters from Sid? There's an intelligence behind the system that's running the show. And the less we're caught up in our frightened thinking and our judgment and our views of the past, Sid's got a whole chapter on this, our views of what happened yesterday, what happened last week, what happened this morning, and then our judgment and our anger and our negative thinking about that experience, the less we engage with all of that, the more we find ourselves in a place of peace and well-being. And from that space comes good action, comes right action, comes beautiful things, comes a shift in a consciousness of the planet in a positive direction, towards less conflict, towards more love, towards more understanding, towards more seeing of the oneness behind life itself and its expression in infinite forms, for reasons for which we know not, we can't understand. There's an intelligence behind everything that's going on right now in this moment. I was reading something the other day, and it was the sentiment behind it was, what if you accept every moment as if you had chosen it to be this way right now? Because in truth, you, who you really are, has chosen this, has chosen the events that appear to have happened in the world, has chosen coronavirus, has chosen the incidents that have happened in the States, right? Has chosen the loss of your loved one, if that's what's happened. The intelligence behind life has chosen this. It sounds so terrible, but like, has chosen this for reasons we don't understand. But there is an intelligence behind the system. And when we connect to that space, we know the love that is coming into form in that space, even though it results in events that our personal mind might not agree with. It's a bit of a side discussion to the chapters in the book, but it all links into, you know, what I'm moved to share with you as a result of reading this. So like, I read this book, I read these chapters, and it's so relevant, so relevant. You know, there's even a passage in there about, you know, how to bring an end to, you know, cultural differences and ethnic disagreement and disparity through this understanding, through the wisdom and beauty this understanding brings. Like, could not be more of the moment, Sid. You know, what he's pointing to here is so timeless. So, you know, the first chapter is about living in the now. So he talks about, you know, clearing away the past, you know, emptying out everything that's happened in the past from our minds, tipping out the stale wine to come fresh to this moment. Seems sacrilegious to say, seems terrible thing to say, forget what happened last week. Right? Really, I see that's what he's pointing to, and I see the beauty in that. Forget what happened last week. Throw out the stale old wine. Come to what's happening now, fresh, new, and inspired. From clarity, from a quiet mind, from a feeling of love and understanding, because when we tip out the old wine, that's all that's left, is the space. And the knowing of that space is the feeling of love. He said what we do with our negative thoughts is we crowd out the beauty from our minds. We can do that. We can get really fearful about the situation, about the pandemic going on, and we can crowd out the beauty from our own minds. You know, I can be sitting here, just in front of me, there's a beautiful, beautiful peony on my desk. I can sit here and I can get totally caught up and worried about the pandemic, or about my kids, or about schooling, or about work, or any number of things, right? And I crowd out the beauty of that peony from my mind. And it's right here. It's right in front of me. And I look up, and the trees and the sky and the sunshine and the neighbours and people going about their lives. The beauty of life is right here in front of us. But I can sit here and totally be oblivious to all of that by crowding out the beauty in my own mind with negative thinking. Sid he kind of says, if you were looking for prescription, he says, drop the negative thinking, have more positive thinking. But he's not pointing to the practice of positive thinking. He's pointing, to my mind, to the fact that the negative thoughts we hold in our mind, they're not compulsory. And when we see that, when we understand how the system works, and we see the fact that negative thoughts optional, that we don't have to keep crowding out the beauty in our own minds, we just are less inclined to do it. It's just not common sense for us to pick up and miss the beauty of the peony for the worrying about the pandemic. He talks about a spiritual mind treatment, this understanding being like a spiritual mind treatment. I think, you know, to my mind, it comes like, yeah, this is like a colonic for the mind, right? Just clear out all of the crap, let go of all the crap and negative thinking and worried thinking and stressy thinking and downbeat thinking. That's what this understanding does. It allows you to flush all that out of the system. He says, let your negative thoughts go. They are nothing more than passing thoughts. You are then on your way to finding the peace of mind you seek, having healthier feelings for yourself and for others. This is simple logic. His words and mine. That simple. That simple. Then he goes on to talk about feelings. Through positive feelings, you'll discover the mental health and wisdom that lie within you. So as we drop negative thought, in comes positive. That's just the way it works. And with that comes the mental health, the wisdom, the common sense, the knowing what to do, the being moved from a wonderful place, from a beautiful space into action. So that right action comes through positive feeling, you know. He talks about love and forgiveness. He says, what you give in life is what you receive. Now, again, I keep referring back to present circumstances, but my guess is whenever you watch this video, right, there's some crazy shit going on in the world somewhere on this planet. There always is, right? This will be relevant 10 years from now as it is today. But what you give in life is what you receive. So if you sit in a pile of bad thinking and anxiety, what you receive is a world that looks scary and horrible. If you sit in a world of love and understanding, you live in a world that is beautiful and graceful and perfect. You and I could sit next to each other on this sofa and we're living in different worlds. We're living in separate realities. Isn't that crazy? As we can see when we look around the world and we see different people's reactions to everything that's going on. Some people greet it with love, some people greet it with frightened feelings, some people greet it with anger, some people are in so much resistance to it shouldn't be this way, and living in feelings of resisting what is. And all of us, different thoughts create different reality, different experience. We're literally living in different worlds. I've had emails from people this week who are living in such fear and such hatred and such absolute resistance and fighting what is. And emails from people who've been touched and moved and have seen a shift in their own consciousness through being open to the idea that love and understanding is the way forward, always, to any problem. What you give in life is what you receive. I want to live in a feeling of beauty and love and joy and receive a world that's full of that. I mean, who wouldn't? It is, as it says, simple logic to my mind. He has a beautiful, beautiful chapter on forgiveness. I'll let you take what you will from that bit. And then I just wanted to finish off with this last bit here. Spiritual wisdom lies within the consciousness of all living creatures. It is formless. The second it is revealed to a human soul, it has taken on a form that can only represent its true nature. I'm struck again by the beauty of that. So what reading these final chapters done is opened up a beautiful feeling inside of me. And as a result of that, I see the peony. I fill up with the love. I am touched by the conversation. I'm so grateful. I fill up with unbelievable feelings of gratitude for this conversation and the potential for humanity, of even getting a tiniest little glimpse of what Sid's pointing to in this book. Without the world would be so much better if only everybody understood and read The Missing Link, but at peace with the world as it is. No need to change, no need to convince others, no need to tell you that my way is the right way, but just grateful that I stumble across something of such beauty and such power that fills my soul. That's what I'm taking from The Missing Link today, and I'd love to hear back from all of you as well. Okay, guys, see you later.